This is the Iron Trader, and this is the weekend edition. Today we're going to take a look here at the old Magnificent 7. Actually, we're going to go Magnificent 7.5 because we're going to add TQQQ to the mix. Okay, first of all, we're going to start off with Amazon, AMZN. Then we're going to go with Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla, and then we're going to finish with that TQQQ, which is basically a nice ETF here for the NASDAQ and has all the Magnificent 7 in there. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, sell any stock, commodity, ETF. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, first on the docket here we have Amazon. Now you can see what just a really nice chart this is here. Let me just see this. I mean, basically all the way bottom left to the upper right. Very, very nice chart. Okay, so let's see where we stand today. So we have a high here of 178.73. We had a low of 176.07, and we closed at 178.22. So very, very bullish. It looks like a nice breakout. So I'm going to show you on the weekly chart exactly where this can go. But right now, let's take a look at the downside. Okay, first of all, we want to always watch that key 8 SMA, 174.32. That's going to be very, very critical. Right below that, we have a 171.35 here. That's a very, very key level. Then what we want to do is we want to look to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 172.27. There's your gap. And then we want to look to the top of this candle at 170.23. So we have a gap right there, and then we have your fill. Okay, and then what we can do is we can just follow these candles right on down. 170.23. We looked at the top of this. You have 168.71. You have 167.14, and then what we have here is 165.74. That's another gap, and then we come all the way down to the top of this candle at 159.76. There's your fill. Okay, so just watch your 8 SMA, 174.32, your 21-day, 171.35. And then watch the bottom of this candle. Very, very key. That's 172.27. There's your gap. And then we have that fill at 170.23. Then we want to do, I say, watch that bottom, 167.14. And then we want to watch 165.74 because that's that other gap. And then you fill right here at 159.76. Okay, so again, if all that is lost here, we have a nice 50-day. You have your price channel here, and you have your, your 100 SMA here. But usually these gaps usually going to get filled here. Just going to be a matter of time. Now there is another big gap all the way down here. That's at 125.52, and then your high is 121.64. But you'd have to have a really dramatic sell-off here to lose your 8, your 21, your 50-day, your 100-day, your 200-day to get all the way down there. But eventually, this here will get filled. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually always keep that on your back burner. But right now here, if you just watch that 8, that 21-day, this gap, that fill, this gap, that fill, that is going to be your nice key support levels here along with your 50 SMA. Now, your RSI here, one thing I do want to show you on here, see where you have a high here. Okay, right there. And then we have a higher high. Well, we have a high here, and then we have a lower high there. So what you have is you have a negative divergence here. So not saying that it's going to play out here, or maybe eventually it does, but just keep your eye on that negative divergence. Now, here on your MACD, your green is over your red. That shows that that's bullish and it has really good momentum. Okay, so right now, the chart looks very, very bullish to go higher. Let's take a weekly and this see where we can go with it. Okay, here we have your nice weekly chart. And you can see here we had a low, a higher low, a higher low, and then she's just moving right on up. See how nice that 8-day curling right on up, the 21-day curling up, 50-day curling up. This is just a very, very bullish chart here, okay? You look at your RSI here. Now, you're in basically over bought conditions, but it can stay there for a while. That shows very, very lot of strength. And same way with your MACD, your green over your red, a lot of strength, a lot of momentum to go higher. So what we want to watch here, okay, is you want to watch Friday's high. That's at 178.73. And then what we do is we come over here to the left of the chart, and then we look here at 179.80. And then we'll move up to this candle. You're looking at 185.67. And then we have 188.11, and then your big retest up there is 188, excuse me, 65. Once you get above that 188.65, well, you're going to head, it's going to be like a magnitude of fridge to hit to that 200. Okay, so always remember that. So basically, you just want to watch that 178.73 here on Monday when it opens. If you can break up, then we just follow the candles right to the left, that 179.80 to at 185.67. 188.11 and then 188.65. And then we have to see what it does there. Is it going to break and close through that? Then you got a good shot at 200. And if they say it goes either right to it or just below it, then it could be double topped here and we could come down and sell right on down a little bit. So you always want to watch your 8 SMA here. Very, very key support level here. And then we have your 21 day and we have your obviously your 200 SMA all the way down there. But right now, this is looking very, very bullish here to go higher to at least retest this area of that 188.65. Okay, let's take a look at it on a different chart now. Okay, this is basically one of those FinBiz charts, which you can just go to finbiz.com and you can download it yourself, no big deal. But see what they do is they have the trend lines on here, so you can see where the trend lines are just moving right up here very, very nicely. Okay, so now you're at the very top of that trend line. So if it pulls back down here, we can just see here, see where I pointed out this candle right there. There's your gap, and then there's your fill. And then we look to the bottom of this candle, there's your gap, and there's your fill, which would basically, then we have this trend line coming right here. But you can see how nice it held on the bottom here, all the way on up here. So this is just another version, gives you another look here if you want to check it out yourself here on the old Amazon. Okay, so this is actually looking very, very bullish chart, but you are at the top of that trend line, so it's either going to break up or it's going to be like in this kind of a scenario here, where we went up here and then she fell right down here a little bit, have a little bit of correction. Okay, let's take a look at the next chart. It's going to be Meta. Okay, here we have Meta, your daily chart. We'll look at a weekly next, and then we'll look at the FinBiz chart after that. You can basically see here where we're just hitting these tops. Okay, so basically you had a 185.96 here, and then we had 188.62, and then you had 494. 36 here, and then we had the 502, 504.25 here. Okay, so you had a high here at that key 485, then we had another high here at that 488, and then you're working at 494, and then we finally had this breakout of the price channel at that 494.36. Now we hit a high there of 504.25 on Friday, which was very, very bullish. And we closed there at 502.30. Okay, so this is very, very bullish chart, but we had a nice big gap. Okay, basically it just gapped up and then it just rolled right on up there, really big time. Okay, so we can just see how that is. So now what we always want to do is you always want to look for any kind of a sell down. If this does sell down, what are the levels? Okay, so you have 485.43. That's your 8 SMA. Then you want to look to the bottom of this candle here. You're looking at 476.06. There's your gap. And then the top of this candle, 469. Okay, so 476.06 and then 469, your gap, and then your fill. And then what we want to do is we want to come all the way down here to this candle here is a low of 455. And then we have this candle right here at 453. Now this 453 is going to be your gap. And then we look to the top of this candle here, you're looking at 450. There's your fill, okay? So we have the gap and the fill here and another gap and another fill going on here. But realistically, what you want to do is, first of all, is watch that 8 SMA here, and we want to watch that key 21 SMA, very, very key level here. But what I like about it, see how that 8-day curled right up. Look at your 21-day, your 50-day, your 100-day, your 200-day. Very, very bullish chart, okay? But if it does sell down, watch the key SMAs, but also watch these gaps and watch these fills here. And also the bottom of this candle here is going to be very, very crucial also at that 455 coming across 09. Now, when you look at the RSI here, well, this is just still very, very bullish. Now, we had a spike high, but again, if that keeps on running, we could probably tag that. So there's a little bit of divergence, but nothing really that major. Your green is starting to come above your red here, but you do have a very, very, because you had the sideways action. So that's basically what it said here, after you had that big run up here. But you have a good momentum here, very, very bullish chart. Okay, let's take a look here on the old weekly. Okay, here we have Meta on the weekly. Now you can just see here, this is the same thing that I'm trying to say like on that we have on crude oil here, okay? See where you have this nice rounded bottom, okay? And then when she takes off, she just rips much higher. So we had really good numbers here on the earnings kind of a situation, and now she's just running right on up here. Very, very bullish a trend here. So you got 504. If you can maintain, right now you close at 502.30. If you can really maintain that, see, there is no resistance here to the left. Basically, what you have is blue sky. But your RSI here, if you look at your RSI here, you're getting into pretty good sized nosebleed territory. Okay, so you got to watch this here for a pullback. Okay, so always remember that. Now, this really wasn't a bull flag. A bull flag comes on the way down. So this is just basically running up. Now, this could go higher. You could go 510, 520, 525. But again, I'd be a little bit cautious going on here because your RSI here is just extremely overbought conditions. Now your MACD here looks very, very bullish here, but again, you're getting into that nosebleed situation here. So if you own it, you can hold it. If you want to buy it, I'd wait for a little bit of pullback. All right, let's take a look at it on a different chart. All right, here we have old Meta here on the FinViz chart. Now, you can basically see here your trend line. You were holding it very, very nicely all the way and up, and then we had that nice big gap and go. I'm not really a big fan of these patterns here because eventually here, you're not only just going to fill this gap here. You look there and right there, that gap, but you're also going to eventually fill this gap here. Now, it could be now, it could be in the fall, it could be whatever. You just got to really watch it. Now, when you look at this trend line going up here, okay, you're tagging it all the way on up here. So a little pullback would not be, would be in kind of an order. Again, if you own it, you can let it keep on letting it run. If you don't own it, I would wait, okay, to get a pullback before you want to buy and get back into this. Okay, the next stock we're going to look at here is going to be Microsoft. Okay, here we have Microsoft. We have a daily and a weekly. We can put these side by side because it hasn't broken out yet, okay? So this chart here, we look on a daily chart here. You can just see here, very, very nice, came down, ran all the way up, had a really nice, good sideways action. But you notice that, see how this held this 50 SMA here? How it held that 50 SMA there? And now she's just running up trying to get do a breakout, okay? So realistically here, so you have the same kind of a scenario here on the gap. So let's just take a look at the downside first. First of all, you always want to watch that 409.51. That is your 8 SMA. Right below it, you have 409.30. So you're basically right there, okay? 409.51. 409.30, that 8 days curling right back up. Now, again, if that's lost here, we can just follow the candles down. You have 405.92 here. We have 405.32, and then we have a 403.85. This is your gap, and then watch the top of this candle here, 402.29, okay? So 403.85, 402.29, there's your gap, there's your fill, and then we have your price channel sitting at 397.22 and then 395.32, that 50-day sitting right below. Now it's already proven that if it gets down to that area, it can hold it very, very nicely. So if it does sell off here, watch this gap in the fill and then watch that key 50 SMA here because you know that it can sell it off here very, very nice. Now here on the upside here, well, you made a high here of 415.87. And basically you had 415.86, okay? So you ran right into the resistance level there. Now, again, if we can get above that, we'll look to the top of this candle. You're looking at 427.4, and then the breakout is 420.82, okay? So you ran right into that resistant level there, okay? That's why she stopped, because just always look to the left of the chart. That's where we want to look here. And then if you go a little bit farther, we'll look right here to your high of 415.32, okay? Because this is where it ran on up, came down, and that's where she broke out from. So you always want to look right to the left of your chart there on top of that candle. So 415.32, okay? So again, on the downside, watch that 8, the 21-day, and then if that's lost, watch this gap very, very key, 403.85, and then your fill at 402.29. Then we have your price channel, 397.22, and your nice 50-day at 395.32. Now here we look on the chart here. Oh, what did I do? Okay, let me see. Okay, so when we look here on this, your RSI here, well, you have you don't really have a divergence because see you had your high at you're pretty much at your high point. You have a little bit of divergence from here to here, kind of a negative divergence. That's why she sold off right there. Okay, so when you look at the high here, we look right there, and then we look at this high, which is a lower high. See that negative divergence, and then once it got up to there, then it sold right on down. But right now, as far as this end of it here, we're still in good shape here because if this can run up here, and once it gets up to our 420, if you have a retest, that can go right back up again. Now, your MACD here, your green is still below your red, looks like curl up here. So we got to see how this one shakes out. But realistically, you just want to watch this kind of this double top scenario, 415.87 here and at 415.86. If you can crank above that, then you got a good shot here at that 420.82. Well, when we look at the weekly chart here, well, your RSI here, you're in nosebleed kind of a situation here, but again, that shows that there is a lot of strength. Your green is above your red. That shows there's a good strength, good momentum, looking very, very good here. Now you can see here where we're holding this 8 SMA here, very, very nice. So what you want to do if that is lost, we just follow that 8 SMA. That's going to be support there at 406.59. And if that's lost here, you can come all the way down here to the 21 SMA here, but realistically, I just think you'll do the gap, the fill, and you'll hold this 50 SMA here at 395.32. I think that'll be very, very critical. But this is a very, very bullish chart here. If you can break out of that 420.82, well, then you can just, obviously the next level is then you go to 430, 440, and probably even 450. Microsoft is the leading right here now, so this looks like it's going to go higher. Okay, let's take a look here on the other chart. All right, here we have Microsoft here. Okay, now we can see here we have a trend line going. Okay, very, very nice. We tagged that trend line right up here, and then she just sold right off. But you're holding that trend line pretty nice. We lost a little bit here, but you're holding on to 21-day. Your 50 SMA here. So this is going to look good because you can see where that 50-day, you've held it very nice there. You've held it very nice there. So if it happens to come down, I'm sure you're going to hold it very, very nice again here. But just watch this gap, okay, and that fill. That is going to be very, very key unless you can run up here to where we have, you can retest that and maybe even a little higher into that trend line. But this here gives you a little bit of a different look here. Very, very bullish chart, okay? Bottom left, upper right. Very, very nice looking chart. Okay, the next one we're going to look at here is going to be Apple. Okay, here we have Apple stock. Now, Apple doesn't seem to be, performing, so far like the rest of them have. But let's just take a look here on the chart and see what we have. Okay, so we look here where you've had a high, 199.62, and then we had a lower high, 196.38, and then we have a lower high, 191 here. See, then we have a lower high of 185.40. So this isn't really what you call a really nice looking chart with this series of lower highs. That's not really that good. However, now Friday, you put a bottoming tail in here on Friday. So you had a low of 177.38, a high of 180.53, and you closed at 179.66. Now, see, this is why you want to use these blue lines here, which is basically price channels. Okay, so even though you sold down below, you close back up into that price channel. So that's always very, very bullish. Okay, so that's what you always want to see if you sell on down. So let's take a look at the low here first. So bottom line, you want to watch that price channel. So you want to look at 179.25, and then you want to look at Friday's low. Okay, so that is 177.38. Now again, if that's lost here, then what we do is we just go right basically to the left of the chart here. Okay, so what do you have? You got 176.21. We have 175.46. We come here, 173.35, and then we can look to the top there, 171.17. You have 170.12. You have 167.90. we have 166.83, and then your big retest down there is 165.67. So the easy way here to find your support levels, okay, is just look at the candlesticks, okay? So when it comes to candlesticks, you want to look at the high, the low, and the closing numbers. That gives you your support and resistance levels here. And then your key levels here are all your SMAs, which are basically simple moving averages, okay? So you have your 8 SMA here, your 21-day, your 50-day, your 100-day, and then you have your 200-day. Very, very easy way to trade, okay? When you keep your trading, just keep it as simple as possible, okay? So bottom line, Monday, what we want to do is you want to watch that price channel at 179.25. That's going to be key. And then launch to the bottom, 177.38. If that's lost, we follow the candles down. Then you have a big retest here at 165.67. Okay, so which is basically on your weekly chart, you can see where that price channel comes right above, right across, and it gives you just an easier way to say, I can look at the chart, boom, I can see exactly what he's talking about at 165.67. That would be the level. Now here on the upside, well, we have a lot of resistance here, okay? So you want to watch that 181, 31. That's going to be first, okay? That's going to be your 50 SMA here on your weekly. Then we have 181, 85 going on there. And then we want to come to this 200 SMA, 183.94. You have your 21 right above it here, 184.53. And then you have your 100-day at 185.78, okay? And then we can come over here to this you have 185.88, which is basically your 21-day here, and then you have your 8 SMA here. And then your big retest is 197.39. If you can break above all that, you can go 191.60 here, which is basically the top of that candle there, okay? So, but the key is here, there's so much resistance ahead. Okay, with the 50-day, your 21 SMA here, but you got your 8, your 200-day, your 21-day, 100-day, 50-day. You have a lot of resistance going on here. Also, I want to point out here on the upside is we have a gap, okay? So what you want to look at the top of that candle is 186.21, and then we want to look to the bottom of this candle, 186.79, okay? So 186.21, there's your gap. Then the bottom of that candle, 186.79. Gap in your fill. So that's also become resistance here before you even hit that 50 SMA. Now, again, if you can get it back above this, then you have a nice test at 191.05 here. We can follow your candles all the way on up here again. But realize, okay, so you have 192.20, we have 194.76, 196.27, and then we have a big retest of 196.38. Okay, above that, we can look to the left, and there's your big target up there at 199.62. But right now here, there's a lot of resistance. So this is not something, you say, oh, I'm going to dive into it because it's going to go right there. You got to have some kind of a catalyst. And usually Apple here, it's usually their earnings and stuff like that, but they're going to need something new here. Now, again, they eliminated that car of theirs here. But however, there is a rumor out there that they might be looking at Rivian. To maybe get, have a play on Rivian. The only problem with Rivian is they're losing $43,000 for each car. And they got about a year and a half left of cash. So unless somebody comes in there and puts some money into it, I don't know how long Rivian's going to last, because how long can you keep going on with losing $43 for each vehicle? Very, very tough scenario. But they might be interested in it to turn it around, or who knows. So anyway, on Monday, watch that 179.25. If that's lost, then just watch Friday's low at 180.23. On the upside here, watch this key 50 estimate, 181.31, and then 181.85. And then we can start here with your 183.94s, your 184.53, and then we have your 100-day, 185.78. We have your gap, your fill, and then your 50 SMA here. And then your big retest at 191.05. A lot of resistance here overhead. And I don't like the series of lower highs. That's really never good. And then we have a series of lower lows here. So you look at your RSI here. Well, it looks like it wants to go lower here, but you do have a positive divergence because you see a low here and even lower there. You have a really low, and then we have a higher low. So we do have a positive divergence. We just got to see how it's going to play out here. Now your MACD, that is obviously very, very bearish. Your green is below your red here, not looking too good. Same way here, your MACD here on your weekly chart here, and your RSI looks like it could go lower here. So realistically, we've got to see if you lose that key level, that 177.38 here. I really think you're going to probably get closer to that 165.67 than you think. Okay, let's take a look at here on the other chart. Okay, here we have Apple. Now, you can basically see where the line coming right across here, okay? That is basically what you call a double top situation. Okay, so now we just have basically chop city. See, so that's where you have your high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and then she's selling down. Lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Okay, this is not good. And see where you lost your trend line here. See, that's what I don't like. You did not hold the trend line, and now look at your 50-day. All your SMAs here are rolling over here. And then we had another trend line here because you couldn't even get to the top. And then as this came down, it couldn't even hold that, and it came selling out. So this is not really what you call a really nice looking chart. You really want to have some kind of a retest here. Follow these candles all down like I posted on the other chart, and then look for that possible retest here, that 165 area. That's what this kind of looks like. Unless you get some kind of a news or something to turn this around, it's just not looking really like something you want to dive right into and say, hey, this is going to go higher. Okay, let's take a look here at the old Google. Okay, here we have Google, your daily and your weekly chart. Now, this is probably about the same kind of scenarios like what we have with Apple. Okay, so when you looked at like the Apple chart or the Amazon chart, and the Meta and the Microsoft, you had really bullish looking charts here. This looks pretty much like the Apple chart. See where we have a high, a lower high, a lower high, and then we have all the way down here. So realistically, what we want to look at here is we want to watch this key price channel. This is going to be key. That's that 135.41. If that is lost here, then we have a nice target of 132.75. That's going to be very, very key. Again, if that's lost here, then what we can do, we can look at this 50 SMA here at 128.84 here. So these are the key levels here, that 132.75 and this 50-day at 128.84. Very, very crucial. And then again, if that's lost here, we can just look at these price channels. See, we just look to the bottom of that candle. Okay, that's the 129.69, just barely above that 50 SMA here. And then we can come down to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 127.90, and then you can work yourself all the way down here. So you have 123.72, 122.69. Let's see here. Well, what do we got here? Yeah, right here is what we're looking at, is 120.21 here. So see, on the way up here, what we had is you have a low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. See how nice it pushes up? But now we have just the opposite here, high, lower high, lower high. And look at the bottom here. It's the same way. Okay, you have a low, then we have a lower low. So realistically, there's just a couple key levels here to watch. And watch that 135.41. If that is lost here, then we have that 200-day at 132.75, which might very well hold. If it doesn't, then you have that nice 50 SMA here sitting at 128.84. And obviously, if that's lost here, then we can hit your price channel there at 120.21. Okay, so this just looks like this is going to be lower. Now, again, if it reverses here, well, there are upside targets. There's 138.07 here. What do we have here? Okay, 138.04. So your 21-day on your weekly and your 8-day here on your daily, about the same. If you can get above that, then you have your 8 SMA at 139.88. You have 142.56, and then we have your 50-day at 142.66 here. But see the 8 SMA here, all leaning all the way down. See your 21-day all the way on down. Just not looking good. Now your RSI here, there is no divergence here. This is just going. It looks like it wants to go lower. This is very bearish. Your green is just headed right down like a pitchfork, going right on down. That's not good. On your MACD, your green just crossed your red. That's not good. Your RSI is heading right down. This just looks lower. So realistically, if you want to buy this, I would wait for that 135.41 or that 132.75 or even this 128.84 or possible retest of 120.21. that would be more of a buying opportunity than say I'm going to take a shot here just because it's in a Mag 7. Okay, let's take a look here at it on another chart. All right, there's Google. Okay, so you can see that upper trend line. You hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, and then we hit it, and then we popped over, and then we sold right on down. Now look at the bottom here. Okay, so you hit it, you're holding it very nicely, and now you lost it. Okay, so you have that high, lower high, lower high, and then all the way down. See, lower low, lower low. It just looks like you just want to hit that key level right here, that 50 SMA here. That just looks like what it wants to do. And then possible you can retest the bottom of these candles and even all the way down to this candle here. That's that 120.21 there. Okay, so right now, once you break these trend lines like this, that always says that, you know, unless you want to short this stock here, this is just looks like it just wants to go lower. I just don't like the whole looks at it. This is not really a buying opportunity to me unless you can hold some of that key support. So if you hold that 200-day here on the daily chart, or the 8-day or the 50-day here on your monthly chart, then that might be a buying opportunity. But right now, this just looks like it just has all the instruments just to say that it wants to just go lower. Okay, now the next one we're going to look at here is just the opposite of all this, and it's going to be NVIDIA. Okay, here we have NVIDIA. Now you can just see what just a really balls out chart this is. Okay, so this was just a big runner here. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you here on this RSI. See, just because you go into oversold conditions, that doesn't, I mean, overbought conditions, that doesn't mean you can't stay there. Okay, just like we have here. But eventually, what happens is it turns. Okay, so right now here, when you look at the high of this 123.94, then we basically on Friday you had 823. I mean 823.24, and then we had basically 823. So you're 94 cents short. Now again, is that going to be a double top situation, or you're going to break right through this? Now they do have a $1,200 target on this here. So I mean, to go up to $1,200, you're not going to do that today, but eventually you'll probably get up there. The only thing about it is like this chart here. So when you see this high, and then we have a retest of the high, but look here, okay? So we always have to look here for your divergences, okay? So we had a high, extreme high, but your RSI didn't show it, okay? So you have a negative divergence. Now your MACD is just the opposite. Your green above your red, looking very, very nice here, okay? So that's the same way here. We just have a very bullish stance here. And you have some, overbought conditions. However, that can stay right up there just like it did here, okay? So it's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of like a warning kind of a sign here. Now your MACD, you're going right up to the nosebleed section here, but it's still very, very bullish. The key is a close above that 823.94. If you can, well, obviously with something like this, you're going to be a target up there. You're probably going to go 850, 875, 900 will be your next target here. But let's just look at the downside here in case this does sell off here. So what you want to do is you want to watch the top of this candle. You're looking at 806.46 here. We have, what do we have? 799.90. You have 789.33. And then we have this 777.09. Very, very key level here. But what I do want to show you here is besides this 730.14 is you have a gap. Okay, so this low is 742.20, and then we have a fill going on here at 688.88. So you have your gap and your fill, and eventually this will get filled. Okay, and maybe not today, not tomorrow, but eventually you have this gap that 742.20, and the top of that is that 688.88, the gap and the fill, and then you can come all the way down here to your 50 SMA here. But again, if you can close above that 823.94, well, obviously you're going to go higher. I mean, that's just simple as that. And you'll probably tag. So you want to, in this kind of scenario, you want to probably tag these round number situations like an 850, 875, and then 900 will be like the biggest deal. And they'll be yapping about on CNBC because they ain't got nothing else to talk about. And oh my God, NVIDIA hit 900. Oh, it's going to do 1,000 thing, and it probably will. It's just that what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't get caught up on the top situations here. So you had 823.94, and 823 here. You got to see if this is going to break through, or is that going to be a double top situation and she's going to fall down. So bottom line here, watch that key 8 SMA here, watch your 21-day, and then this is critical. That 742.20, there's your gap, and that's a really nice support level. Now, it might, if it sells off, it might just stop right there. Doesn't have to do the fill, but if it does do the fill, then right there, that's 688.88 here. So here on your weekly chart, well, you just basically nosebleed here for how many weeks here now. So you had to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks after the breakout. She just nosebleed right on up here. But you have to be careful when you see these RSIs here like this here. Just be careful on what you got going here. So this is, if you want to scalp this trade, to me, I scalp it. I just, I bought it Friday and I sold it Friday. If it breaks up, it'll always have an opportunity to buy and sell it again. It's just kind of late here. If you want to buy this long term, you should have bought it right down here on the breakout and then let it run up as high as you can. As long as it follows that 8 SMA here, once you lost the 8 SMA, but you notice that it held that 21 there, very, very nice here on a closing basis. Just because it came lower, that doesn't mean that it held it on the close. That is the key. But for me, this right now is still just a scalper here, unless you can get yourself a good sell down. I'm saying fill the gap here or even down here, then it would be more of a longer term for me to take a trade in. Okay, let's take a look here on the other chart. Okay, here we have NVIDIA. Now you can see your trend line here. Well, it was holding it really nice here, okay? You hit, trend line going right on up here. Nice, it hit, and now you can see where it broke above. Now, again, a lot of times what it does, it'll come right down to that trend line, and it'll hold that. So, okay, so you basically want to watch the top of that candle. You're basically looking at that 70.46.11, okay? So that's basically what you want to do. That'll be the trend line, which is pretty much what that gap is, okay? That's 742.20, but just watch that trend line first, okay? That's that 746.11. Okay, so that's what we want to look if it comes down and the sells on down. But again, there's your gap and there's your fill all the way on down. Now, you're out and about that trend line, but a lot of times the trade doesn't last out there that long. So just remember that. So if you're trading this here, you want to make sure that you're in and out, you get your money in your pocket, because when you have this stuff, stock at these levels here, going pretty much just on momentum, and I'm saying ever since that earnings call, you got to be very, very careful here, because you have one wrong glitch and this could come flying down here like you just can't believe. Now, it held this trend line here very, very nice here on the downside, where you hit, very nice. And then when you took off, this was that candle, that breakout candle. Once you broke out of there, that was your buying opportunity here to go all the way long till you have your trend line, and then she came down, and now she's moving up nicely. But I say just be a little bit careful with this. To me, I say I'm scalping it like I did Friday. I'm not going to be a buy and hold unless I get a nice, good pullback in NVIDIA. All right, next one we're going to look at here is going to be Tesla. Okay, here we have Tesla, your daily and your weekly chart. Now, Tesla is always one of my favorite here for a couple reasons. First of all, you can look at here, there's huge volume, okay? It does big volume, you can get in, you can get out, and the stock moves, okay? So that's the beauty of it. So let's just look at it like on Friday, you had a high of 204.52, and he had a low of 198.05 here, okay? So you basically had a six point plus difference there, okay? So if you scalp it a couple times, you're almost guaranteed to get 4, 5, 6 points out of this a day, okay? So even if you're trading small, you can still make money on this every day. So this is what now Tesla, my personal opinion, is the EV car company that's going to be I think it's going to be here for the duration. I think the big challenger here is, if it comes into play, is that BYD from China, okay? Now, BYD from China, they made a pretty good move here. What they're doing is they're not only just moving into Mexico, but what they're doing is they are building in Mexico. So remember, okay, if they have an actual plant in Mexico, then they don't have to pay that 25% tariff, okay, to come to the United States. And believe me, I was looking at their cars. Man, you look at the fit, and they were talking about like the fit and finish on the cars, man. It's just like a Ferrari. I mean, it's just really fine tuned. As a matter of fact, they came out with electric car that looks very similar to a Ferrari, and you can go 0-60 in less than 2 seconds. So it's really, really something. But on their regular passenger cars and their SUVs, where an average vehicle like around here would be 40, 50,000, theirs is like 25, 30,000. They can really swallow the market up here very, very quickly. So if they start coming into the United States here, that BYD here, they're going to be very, very tough. Now, the U.S. car makers here with the EVs here, I don't know, they're just not working out. Tesla, I think, is a very unique. A lot of people like the Tesla. It's a whole different experience. Okay, with the Tesla, they have the charging system, they have the stuff like that. Plus, they're cutting the prices to get competitive. That is the key here now. Okay, so I think they have a real big edge. They have a big volume. Ford, GM, I don't think that's going to work for them. You got to figure Ford. They lost $5 billion last year. That's not worth. You look at like Lucid, they lost money per car. Rivian, they're losing $43,000 per car. There just isn't that, because like here in America, see, that's why fast food places work, like your McDonald's and all the drive-thrus. I mean, I don't eat that kind of food, but I'm saying a lot of people do. And what they do is they just like to drive up, get their order, and move on. And see, that's the same thing like with cars. They're not going to sit there at a charging station and depend, is this thing going to charge? Are these chargers even working? How long am I going to have to sit there? We're just not made for that. They want instant. Go to a gas station. It takes me 5 minutes. I can fill my car up with gas. You know what I mean? I can go in there, get myself something to drink or something. I could be out of there 5, 8, 10 minutes, and I'm gone. I'm not sitting there for hours, kind of a situation. So I just don't see where that is going to go. And plus the range on a lot of those cars. But again, I think Tesla will have a problem if that BYD does come. They're very big competition coming out of China. But anyway, Tesla is one of my favorite stocks because it does big volume and it has big movement here. Now, when we look at this chart here on the weekly chart, we can look here. See, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Okay, but we got to see how it all plays out. Now, so far, we're holding that your key levels right here. If you come down and you lose one at 181, well, then that negates that whole pattern. What I don't like about this is, see, you have a high, 299.29. Okay, a 273.98, high, lower high, lower high, lower high, down. Same way with the bottom here. All the way on down, and there's no divergence. It's just following it right on down here. So you look at your MACD here. That looks that looks bearish here on the weekly. RSI looks okay here. It's just very, very difficult here to say where this is going to pop up. It needs some kind of a catalyst. But when you look on a daily chart, you still have you have a different inverse head and shoulder, smaller one, where you have left shoulder here, your head, and your right shoulder. Now it's trying to break out. The key is to get above this key level right here, that 205.06. Now your gap still isn't filled. Okay, so you have 205.60, but you look at the bottom of this candle is 206.77. That's going to be your next resistance, because still there's your gap now, and then we have a fill right there. Then right above it, we have this 212.57. You have 222.90, and then we have 234.79. So we do have some good targets here on the upside. The key is if we can just break out of this action here, this 205.60, and then fill that gap at that 206.77. Right now, you got some good. It's just a sideways. Basically, for me, it's been really good because it's just a scalper's market. Once I thought, we had that inverse head and shoulders pattern, that once we had this green candle, I figured, well, maybe we can just at least get to that gap, but we never did get to that gap, okay? It just came down, but then we had some nice trading action here, and now we've picked it up a pace, a nice trading action. So if we can get above that price channel there, sitting at 205.60, then maybe we can build another deal here between here and that 50 SMA, and maybe we can trade in that level there. But right now, I say, to me, it's still just a scalper stock. It's not something that's going to be blast right up, because they are lowering their prices. I don't know. I think they got their paperwork out of Delaware and they moved it to Texas. But, I don't know how you're going to pay, $56 billion to a guy. I know Elon is the company. Something happens to Elon, this company's going to go right in the shitter. There's no question about that. It's him, it's Elon. So I get what he's saying, but that's a lot of money here to come out of the company, to go there and pay one person. So anyway, just watch that key level, 205.60. Now, on the downside here, we want to watch this 8 SMA. You can see how that 8 SMA was fighting it the whole way. And then once it reversed, now we're basically above it. So that's going to give you a nice, good support level, 198.73. And then right below that, we have 193.26. So I like it. The 8 SMA is rolling up. Your 21-day here is rolling up. So this is very, very key level. Now, if you lost that 8, it comes down 21-day. That'd be a nice, good scalping out. But right now, I'm just scalping it in between here until you're either going to break up here or you're going to break down here to the 21-day. Now, I take this thing both directions. I use TSLA for the long and TSLS for the short, okay? TSLS for the short, okay? So that's an ETF which you can take down for the short here. So again, if we lose that 21-day, then we just follow the candles down here. You got 192 here. We have 189.13. We have, let's see, 183.35, 182.11. And then we can come down to this candle, 180.06, and then we have 177.11, and then your big retest here at 175.01. Now this has been trading here with the market here. So if the market rips higher, this will rip. If the market goes lower, I think this will come down. But realistically, watch that 8 SMA here, very, very key, and that 21-day for your support. And on the upside, that 205.60, very, very key. Now, here on the weekly, you have that 198.80. Your candle is above that. But then we run into all this resistance. Look what we got here, okay? So you have basically that 220.94. You have everything is jammed right up, 222, 226. Everything is jammed up right on there. So if this does run up higher, okay, next level is going to be that 212. 50-day, and then you're going to run right into that 222 area, which is your 100-day, and then all this stuff here. So don't expect everything to be too much here, you know what I mean, if you do have a big breakout. Okay, let's take a look at it here on a different chart. All right, now see, this is a little bit clearer on what you can see what I'm talking about. We have a high, lower high, and then all the way on down here again, okay? And then you have low, lower low, lower low. So what you want the chart is do opposite. You want here left to right, not okay, left all the way down there. Okay, so it just is not the chart that you want to say. So if it does run up here, you got good targets here where you can have it run up. There's no question about that. Okay, but again, you got to see if it can run on up here. But basically, first thing you want to do is look at that gap. And then we want to look at the 50 SMA here, okay? And then we can take it up higher. But that 222 area is going to be very, very strong here. But when you see a chart like this is not the kind of chart that I really like looking at here. This is a scalper's chart here at best. Okay, the last one we're going to look at here is going to be the ETF for the NASDAQ, and it has all that MAG 7 right in there, and it's TQQQ. All right, here we have TQQQ on your daily chart. Now, this is always one of my favorite trades here. I am long this and I scalp this, okay? So this has everything in it. And for me, I'm an oil guy, natural gas, gasoline guy. Maybe not trade anything, but that's what I focus on. So this is a really good trader here that has a nice basket of all that MAG 7, all the good stuff that everybody wants, okay? So it's like a one-stop shopping that I look for. So when we look at this whole chart here, see we have your low, then we have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. You had a little bit pullback here in that market here, but look at here now what happened on Friday. We had the breakout. The breakout was 161.22, and you hit a high of 63.51. You closed at 63.13. So this was a very, very good bullish breakout out. Now what we want to do here is on the downside, we want to see here if we can retest that 61.22 and hold it, okay? So that's usually what is the big deal of it is. If you can hold that key 61.22 if it sells on down. Now, right below that, we have that nice 8 SMA here at 59.63, and then we have that 58.42, which is also very, very good support level here, okay? So you can see here how you're holding this key 21-day here. If it comes right on down here, your 8 days curling up, your 21-day, your 50-day, your 100-day, your 2, everything is looking very, very bullish. Now, you do have a gap here, so you do want to watch here, okay? So you want to watch the bottom of that candle that is sitting at 58.55. There's your gap, and then look to the top of this candle, 55.42. Okay, so 58, 55, and then we have 55.42. And then right below it here, we have that 54.33, and then we have your price channel sitting at 52.91 here. So you do have some good downside here, support levels here. But realistically, like on Monday, you want to watch that 61.22 to make sure that it just holds, that just Friday just wasn't just a big pop-up day here on the employment numbers in that kind of a situation here. Now, your RSI here, well, you do have a negative divergence going on here, but realistically, if this keeps on moving up here, that can switch very, very heavy. Now, your MACD here, your green is crossed above your red. That's looking very, very bullish here. So this is a very, very nice looking star pattern here. But again, this has all that Mag 7 in it, and it's just a lot of good stuff. Plus Costco's in here, and there's just a lot of good stuff here. So let's take a look on the weekly to see where we can go if we start moving higher. Okay, so if that Mag 7 everything rips up higher here, we can see that price channel. There's that 61.22. And then we look at Friday's high at that 63.51. Now what we do is just bring this right across, okay? So basically when we look at this area here, okay, that's 62.96, okay? So that was really that 63 area we were looking for. And then right here, this next level is going to be 65.37, okay? So you just bring these price channels here right across, and they seem to work very, very good here, okay? So that's what we want to do. But again, we want to watch that downside. If it does sell off, you really need to hold that 61.22. Otherwise, you can come right back down here to that 8 SMA, 57.25, and then you could even come down lower. But again, so the next level here is going to be right here. You're looking at 65.37 is going to be your target. And then we'll come over to this candle. You're looking at 69.72, okay? And then what we do is we can follow these candles up, okay? So you're looking at, what do we have here? Yeah, that's 69.72. And then we want to look here on the bottom, that's 71 flat. And then we can follow this candle here. You're looking at 77.97. And then we start working your way up into the 80s, 83.65. We have 85.95. You have 87.49. And you have your big retest here of 91.68. Okay, now remember, once this is a leverage fund, so once this gets rolling, you know, she gets rolling. Now, this isn't for everybody. If you don't like trading leverage here, leverage ETH, this is not for you. But like for a guy like me, I like to juice, so this works out really good. So realistically, watch that key 61.22, and then watch Friday's high at 63.51. If you can get above that, the next level here is going to be 65.37. That's going to be your target. And then you have 69.72. That's going to follow right after that. Okay, so your RSI here looking very, very good. There's really no divergence, no nothing here. This is just basically moving up here. Now, again, you can be like in this condition here, where you can be in like a little bit of a overbought condition. Then that's fine. That's actually shows strength. Your MACD, very, very nice here. Green above your red, looking very, very good. Looking very, very bullish. Okay, let's take a look here on the other chart. Okay, now we can see where this broke out. Okay, so we had your trend line rolling here. Okay, went right onto it, holding there very nice. And now she broke through, and now we're going to look to the next trend line. So you're basically looking for that $65 level here on your next thing, just like I pointed out here on the weekly chart. If it falls down here, you can see how nice it holds the bottom trend line. Okay, so you have your bottom, okay, held, very nice. Even though it comes down and it closes above, that's all that matters. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it pops down as long as it closes back above. See where this one here, the red candle, went above and then closed back in. But this is a clear breakout right here. Okay, just a clear breakout. And the day before that, you look at that green candle, we had a nice bottoming candle right there. That told you that you got to get in. And then we just, you know, the next day she popped right on up here. So I'm looking for realistically next week, I'm looking for at least hit that 65 level is what I'd be looking for, unless we get a little pullback here first. Now, remember, on Monday, a lot of times you can rally up. You rally on Friday. We can rally up Monday, and then you have turnaround Tuesday. Now, if it goes, say it sells off on Monday, then I would usually go buying late Monday or on any pullback. So then we have a turnaround Tuesday to go up, okay, and vice versa. So that's what you always have to look at. But on this here, I'm looking for this here to go to the 65 level before we have any kind of a pullback. Okay, that's what I got for you today. We had the Amazon, the Meta, the Microsoft, the Apple, the Google, the Nvidia, the Tesla, and my favorite, the TQQQ. All right, that's what I got for you on the weekend edition. Tomorrow, I'm going to probably do something here on some trading tips. So if you're interested in that, just maybe a lot of times, what I do is I think everybody knows the same lingo and the same thing I do, and maybe sometimes you guys don't. Okay, like when I say a scalp, okay, some people are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Well, basically a scalp is just a day trade. You just want to buy low and sell high and take the money. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of things. We're going to go over some different charts tomorrow. We'll just look at different things on bottoming patterns, topping patterns, on some of what the lingo means, on SMAs and all of that, just so like that, like a real refresher. So you say, "Wow, now I know what the hell this guy's talking about." So anyway, that's what I got for you today, and I say I'll be back tomorrow for a little shorty video, and then remember tomorrow night, then usually right around 7 o'clock, I always review the crude oil and natural gas to get you set up there for Monday. All right, hope everybody has a great weekend. I will see you later. Thanks for watching.